Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now March 29th of 2022, and as we get closer and closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, a lot of Star Wars fans are also focused on other Star Wars shows out there, such as the Ahsoka Tano series, and let's not forget about the Mandalorian Season 3 and 4 that are both slated for this year and next year that's going to conclude the entire show. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, if you'd like to go ahead and drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, there is one thing that is very much apparent, is that a lot of fans have been very happy with Jon and Dave's work on Luke Skywalker as a character in the overall Mandoverse. We're talking about what has been done so far in The Mandalorian Season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett, and what is currently planned for Season 3, Season 4, the Ahsoka Tano series, and more to come for the character of Luke Skywalker, and how it's going to involve Mark Hamill in a very big way in different aspects. Now, one thing about the overall Star Wars universe is that George, Jon, and Dave are looking for ways to combine both Legends and the Disney canon into one, and to create a perfect balance for all types of Star Wars fans. Whether you're a new fan, a casual fan, or even a hardcore one at that, they really want to cater to all types of Star Wars fans for the overall community. And that's exactly what they're trying to do in a balanced way. And you can only imagine how tough or difficult that's going to be by calling specific decisions or shots on some of the series and some of the characters being implemented into those shows. However, when it all dwindles down to one specific Star Wars project that is now in the early development phase, that is planned to be released in the coming years, there is one aspect about all of this that truly is going to satisfy a large portion of the Star Wars community, that has a lot to do with the Force and the character of Luke Skywalker as well. Now, on top of all of this, with the Ahsoka Tano series now in development and getting ready to begin filming by this April, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been very involved with Mando Season 4 and other projects that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration. Now, it's described, however, that currently Disney and Lucasfilm are working on a brand new series that is in the early development phase, that is set to focus on the character Luke Skywalker and his adventures across the galaxy, in between episodes 6 and 7. Now, one major part of the show that is dubbed simply as Star Wars Jedi Knight is set to focus and feature fan-favorite Legends characters such as Kyle Katarn and even Mara Jade in the series. Actor Mark Hamill is set to return to narrate as Luke Skywalker as his older self, and even appear as his older self for a limited number of scenes to introduce the stories of his young adult life. Both Jon and Dave will be working on the show with George Lucas for an intended 2024 to 2025 release window. However, though Sebastian Stan is set to play the part of a young version of Luke, Luke's older self is set to be done by Mark Hamill again, that takes place before the sequels. The older version of Luke is described to be a version of Luke roughly 5 years before The Force Awakens, where he tells new tales of his young adult life. Disney is set to focus and showcase Luke Skywalker's new Jedi students in the series, along with a brand new Jedi temple that takes place on Yavin 4, just like in Star Wars Legends. Now, let me just pause right here for a second. Now, we talked about this a couple of days ago, of how they are planning to have Mark Hamill return to narrate as the character of Luke Skywalker as his older self, talking about his young adult life during his younger years. Each specific episode telling a different story. Essentially, this multi-season show that is currently planned, each and every episode has nothing to do with the episode that comes after or before it. And that, to me, I think is a very interesting format. The fact that they are going to be throwing in fan-favorite characters like Kyle Katarn, Mara Jade, a young version of Ben Solo in there, here and there. You know, you can see what they're trying to do. They're really trying to cater to both Legends fans and, of course, some aspects of Disney's Star Wars that are the highlights. You know, there's no doubt about it that when you look at the sequel trilogy, I think that the only real good character that came out of that was probably Ben Solo. That's just my opinion, and that's just my take on things. I think that Adam Driver was probably the best performance out of all of the new character actors, you know. So, when you look at everything related to that, the fact that they are trying to kind of approach this in, I guess you could kind of say like in a Goodfellas format, or in a Many Saints of Newark type of format, where you have a narrator talking over the story. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I'm sure that there's better examples out there for that, but that is a perfect example of how they're trying to go about doing things. A narration by Mark Hamill telling stories about his young adult life. Now, moving beyond all of this, the format of the show is set to focus on over 10 different separate mini-stories for Luke, at least in the first season, that will be introduced to fans. Such stories are set to include ones about Kyle Katarn and Luke Skywalker, Luke's relation with the young Ben Solo, new dark side Force users that are set to appear that will be taken from Legends, and a new story about Mara Jade just for starters. The series is set to also focus on Luke Skywalker's strengths and weaknesses while growing up to becoming a Jedi Master. Actor Sebastian Stan has already been in the talks with John and Dave about this project, and that Lucasfilm is negotiating on titling the series simply as Star Wars Skywalker. The project, dubbed as Jedi Knight, is also set to feature brand new villains that will come into the mix. Lucasfilm will be treating this series where each episode will be its own story, and that the fans won't really need to follow an entire season to get the idea of what's going on. This is Lucasfilm's plan to make this into a successful multi-season show if feedback is positive from the fans. George Lucas is already planned to become one of the co-writers for the show, given that he knows Luke Skywalker best. Now, additionally, the story of Ren and the Knights of Ren will also have some form of involvement in the show as minor villains, inspired directly from the rise of Kylo Ren comic books. John and Dave have had this series planned since 2020, and it is now just picking up speed in development and is set to begin filming by the end of next year. So here's the big deal about this, the fact that they are going to be incorporating some characters like the Knights of Ren and Ren, who, by the way, is not Kylo Ren, that's a separate character. Go ahead and check out the Rise of Kylo Ren comics. When you look at what they're ultimately trying to achieve, they are trying to achieve a way to kind of give us both an older version of Luke and a younger version of Luke at the same exact time. I think it's a very smart move by Disney and Lucasfilm to kind of give us a story, or to give us a series that focuses on each episode telling a completely different story than what fans would even expect, and how it's going to have a lot of surprises. It's also a great move to kind of keep that mystery intact, to kind of give the fans the expect the unexpected type of attitude, right? Because if you don't really know what's coming next, if each story or each episode is completely different, you don't really have a clue of what's going to happen in the next episode. And that, to me, I think, is a great marketing move for fans to actually keep on checking out each and every episode, to kind of gain interest, to actually stay engaged with the overall show. You know, when you look at a show that actually has a flowing story with each episode where it takes place after the other, sometimes, you know, some fans might get bored, some fans might tune out because they're not liking the story and how it's going, but with each episode being its own thing, that could very well be a way for Disney and Lucasfilm to actually keep that engagement in stock, and to really keep the fans checking out each and every episode, because if one isn't as great as the other one, they could always be like, hey, let's check out the next one, see how that rolls, you know, let's see where their characters go this time, let's see what the story is going to be about. So, overall, this really is a great move. It makes a lot of sense to honor the character of Luke and to really do amazing things that we would have never expected to have seen. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.